The NFL draft is mercifully almost here, and Pro Football Focus is digging in. A couple more mock drafts to go. This time, a 3-round version for the NFC North. So not only what the Vikings are going to get on day 1, day 2, but as well as what the rest of the jabronis in the NFC North are going to get, and the Vikings have to play twice a year. So, nah. So for the Vikings, 14 AVT, where if the big 3 tackles are off the board, Sewell, Slater, Darisaw, makes sense. AVT, and I get it. Is it that sexy taking a guard at 14? No. Is guard a major position need for the Vikings if they plan on moving Ezra to left tackle? Yes, absolutely. And AVT is clearly the number 1 tier offensive lineman in this class. He can set it and forget it. Plan his ass at left guard. I know he can play tackle, have him play guard, and you're going to be perfectly fine there. He's got the anchor, he's got athletic ability, and he can be a week 1 asset starting for the Vikings. So no problem there. Then you get into day 2. So the Vikings 2 third-round picks, number 78 and 90 overall. Deo Odeyingbo coming out of Vanderbilt, where you have this extremely versatile defensive lineman, can play edge, can play left defensive end, can play defensive interior as well. But the problem is he's probably going to miss the season because he tore his Achilles right before the Senior Bowl. So I understand you're getting an extremely good player. Probably a second-round talent that you're getting in the 3rd round. But if you're all in on 2021, why are you taking projects at the back end of day 2? Same thing with Stone Forsythe, who monster tackle for the Florida Gators, but is going to need some time, is going to need a little bit of time and seasoning and coaching. I don't know if we have proper coaching on the Vikings on the offensive line to really make a contribution. I think the upside for Stone Forsythe is that he will be your swing backup tackle. Him and Blake Brandel could get after it. But is that what you want? Is that what you want as immediate contributors in day 2? Where, remember, I mean, day 2, 78 and 90, round 3 picks are extremely valuable real estate. You can get week 1 contributors and pipe hitters. So I get the AVT pick. I'm not overly thrilled about the 2 project picks. I think Forsythe is a couple years away, even though PFF likes it, gave us the highest grade of the 3 picks. And Odeyingbo obviously is going to be good to go in 2022, but you could get a guy like Osa Odighizuwa who could play a similar role along the offensive line coming out of UCLA. And with Forsythe, you could go a guy like James Hudson out of Cincinnati, or a guy like Jackson Carman from Clemson, who potentially could play some guard as well, but you'd be much more comfortable playing his rookie season as opposed to Forsythe. So I don't know. I'm not overly thrilled with this draft, and PFF gave it a B-. It was your own draft, man. How'd you give it a B-? Rest of the NFC North. So Lions spanked this thing, man. So Devontae Smith at 7. That's gross. So you have to defend him twice a year. It's going a long way to replacing Marvin Jones and Babytron and Danny Amendola. And then Dan Campbell, that defense, baby, they get after it. Even though I know that Dan Campbell's a former tight end, he's a defensive guy. It just seems like it anyway. But Zaven Collins, Jamar Johnson, Trey Brown, absolute value all across the board. Zaven Collins at 41. He's going to be your brand new rangy linebacker, plus Jamar Johnson, a hammer on the back end. And Trey Brown, undersized, but I think that he certainly could fill in that Justin Coleman role. So, I mean, that's an aces. That's an aces day 1, day 2 for the Detroit Lions. Then you get to the Bears. So going Trevor Moehrig at 20, where a little intriguing. So Bears needs offensive line, yes. Wide receiver, yes. Potentially defensive line after RRH, and they might have to get rid of Akeem Hicks, yes. But Moehrig with Eddie Jackson, that's the best safety duo in the league. It absolutely is. So I understand the Moehrig pick there. I think it's a good spot for him. Oh, I mean, they should go quarterback too, but they get Jamie Newman at 83. So the Bears are in a weird spot where they're probably going to be out of range of the big 5 quarterbacks. I think it's too early for Mond and Trask. But if you get a guy like Jamie Newman, where he can sit for a year, maybe 2 behind Andy Dalton, he's got the size, he's got the arm. I think he's a good athlete as well. So yeah, that's really intriguing getting him in the 3rd round. Plus they get James Hudson. So James Hudson was the left tackle for Cincinnati this year, protecting Desmond Ridder. He's a converted defensive lineman, formerly at the University of Michigan. Athletic upside for days, and I like this pickup for the Bears. Now, they could play him inside a guard for a year. Maybe they expand him out, or hell, maybe they're just playing his ass at right tackle, or potentially replace Leno at left tackle. But overall, yeah, this is a good draft for the Bears. And then the stupid Packers. So I was just hoping that they wouldn't go wide receiver at 29, but they did. So Elijah Moore is going to come in. He can rock the slot. He can play special teams as well. Elijah Moore is bad news. He is bad news. That's going to put a lot of stress on the Vikings secondary for years to come. Chad Surratt, great linebacker out of North Carolina. Now, I know that they had Kamal Martin really step up in the middle last year, but Christian Kirksey, not so much. And eventually, they may have to let go of Preston Smith. So I think Surratt could be a little bit of everything, where he can play on the outside, he can play inside as well. The converted college quarterback can really get things done. That's a really nice pickup there. Plus, in the third round, Calvin Joseph coming out of Kentucky. Whew. It's a great pickup, man. Was second in the SEC in interceptions last year. Is a dynamic physical freak, and he is a massive upgrade over Kevin King. So even though they re-signed Kevin King, Calvin Joseph is going to be that dude, eventually replacing him as cornerback 2 opposite Jair Alexander. So that's what really annoys me. So the Packers had a phenomenal draft. I love all 3 of their picks. The Bears had a great draft. I even like getting Jamin Newman in the third round. The Lions obviously had a phenomenal kick-ass draft. And then the Vikings take a guard. Again, AVT, stud, but guard. And then 2 projects that probably shouldn't see the field for, 1 year for Odingbo and probably 2-3 years for Forza. So, great. Great. In a season that you're all in, you get 1 starter and then a couple of dudes that you put on layaway. I don't know, man. I'm not thrilled. I ain't thrilled, but the rest of the division, it's annoying. It's annoying, man. But your thoughts, PFF's 3-round NFC North Mock Draft. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Most support that work. Pull some of the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.